Good afternoon and welcome back to Fat Cat Collections. So folks, a really quick video today. I just want to put something up. Again, this is not really a do-it-yourself or how-to video, just more of an informational video. As the channel becomes larger and larger, you just never know, whose life you're going to kind of, I don't want to say touch because this isn't like a sentimental video, but I've learned a lot of things just by somebody who I really enjoy to watch and kind of respect, and maybe I trust what they have to say. A lot of times I'll watch them and just remember that later on down the road if a problem does develop. So today I just want to talk about if your garage door opener and some of the issues you might have. Because the amazing thing about YouTube is, the old saying, a picture's worth 1,000 words, and I think a video is worth 10,000. So it's if that makes any sense. But, things are so easily replaceable in our society. And, as much as I, like to shop and buy a lot of different things and, I'm obsessive about things, I'm still pretty frugal. So if I have something that already works and it goes out, it kind of pisses me off. And so a lot of times nowadays, if you have to call somebody, you're looking at hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands of dollars to get things fixed. There's been so many things that I've learned how to do myself, just honestly by asking questions, reading about it, but also with YouTube, it really makes it easy to try to figure things out, You can actually, if you have something crop up, you can actually watch what somebody's doing and hear, what the device might be making, if it's a mechanical kind of thing, what sounds, I mean, just to give you guys an example, not all the time are you going to find the perfect YouTube video for somebody who's maybe got the exact same model or same problem, but you might find something similar, a similar brand, similar car, which will give you the confidence to fix something on your own, rather than having to pay a lot of money for it. I remember back around 2000 when I got my Honda Accord, about a year into it. It's really one of the few things that have gone wrong with the car. It's been super reliable, knock on wood. No, it's wood. But I had to have, and I wasn't really mechanically inclined back then, and the starter went out, and I had the starter fixed, and it was like $300, 20-something years ago. So nowadays, I can only imagine what it costs with paying people to do things. I mean, my hot water heater went out, my folks' hot water heater went out, did all that myself, and you can get a lot of pointers, again, from the internet and from YouTube. I'm kind of a visual guy, so if I see, a step-by-step process on how to do something, I really retain it much better and understand a lot better if I actually can see somebody doing it. I won't even really have to watch a video very long to get the general gist and to know exactly what I have to do. So, perfect example, if your garage door opener, the one on the ceiling in your garage, starts to act up, there's a couple things you can check into. Now, in my case, and this again is probably going to be useless for a lot of videos or a lot of people, but remember, my video for my microwave sparking fixer is a perfect example. Saved me, a couple $100 from buying a microwave. I know that a couple $100, depending on your financial situation, isn't going to, break me personally. It can have an effect on a lot of people out there. Some people just say, it's pocket change, right? But still, nonetheless, I still don't like to buy things that it's not something new and fun. It's like, shit, I'm replacing what I already had that I barely use. So, garage door opener is not something that's fun to get, right? It's just something that it's functional, right? So anyway, with that microwave video, it was sparking, and I, put up a very, very basic informal video, and it's helped thousands and thousands of people save money and, for a couple bucks, salvage their microwave, right? Or a lot of times in the past, probably would have just thrown mine away. A lot of people probably would have done the same thing. So with this, the garage door opener one day, there's many reasons why a garage door opener won't lift or close. Maybe it freezes up in the middle and kind of stops. A lot of reasons for that. I'm just going to give you guys my story. I have in the past replaced the garage detention springs. People have always said super dangerous, super dangerous. It is dangerous, but use common sense. If the thing breaks and you're near it, you could lose an eye. You could really get hurt, maybe even killed. In my case, I followed, again, YouTube videos. It's not hard if you are confident and mechanically inclined and you can get a good understanding, watch somebody do something. So anyway, that's something I've done years ago. The other day I came home, garage door opened halfway, and you just heard the motor spinning. And I ran in real quick because I was like, gosh, I don't know, it's chains involved. I don't know anything about this. and you could just hear it buzzing and the motor running when the door wasn't moving. So if that does happen to you, you know, and you need to get the door closed, there is that quick release lever that usually has a red or orange handle on a little rope sort of thing hanging from the top of the garage door where it connects to the bar going across with the chain or belt on it. You basically pull that and it releases your garage door from the opener mechanism. So then you can do it by hand, lift it up and down. Now if your garage door is very difficult to lift, you should be able to do it with one arm. The idea with your tension spring, it should be balanced enough that when you don't have the garage door opener opening the door, assisting to open the door or opening it, you should be able to grab the handle on your door with that disconnected and lift it up, and wherever you stop, it should stay. It should basically make the, it's almost like it acts as like a counterbalance, right? So you lift the door up halfway, it should stay. It shouldn't be falling down, shouldn't be flying up. It should be nice and balanced. So wherever you lift that door up with ease, you can just kind of set it and forget it, right? Sort of. So now, there are situations where you might have to kind of tweak that a little bit. Now, in my case, my garage door opener was put in 1996. Again, they're not, you know, rocket science. They're pretty basic. And by taking one apart and looking at it, you'll understand, if you are mechanically inclined, how basic they really are. When I pulled the cover off mine, checked out a few YouTube videos, what I found as soon as I pulled the cover off, you could see the main sprocket gear, the main drive gear. So basically you have a motor and you have a worm gear, which looks like a screw. That screw rides against a much larger gear, about that large, say maybe 2.5 inches, 3 inches, 2.5 inches in diameter. And basically rides that gear, it turns that gear, and what that does is attached on the other end of like kind of a shaft, there's a sprocket with a chain or belt, and that actually pulls the garage door up and pushes the garage door back down. In mine, as soon as I took the case off, it looked like there was so much white powder in there. It looked like I was in you know, something out of a Scarface movie, right? I mean, just it looked like coca everywhere. Just white dust and powder. And you can see the teeth on the gears were completely gone. I mean, worn completely off. Where that worm gear, that screw gear, or worm gear, was just basically spinning without actually coming in contact with the main sprocket. So, little did I know, these are very cheap, affordable parts. I just went to YouTube immediately and found a couple of videos. So the reason why I'm making this video again is because if you follow me, you might see this video, take the time to watch it, and just remember something. Like, I'm planting the seed in your mind that if you have a problem with your garage door opener, most likely it's a very cost-effective, easy thing to fix, right? As long as the motor's intact, and the motherboard's not burned out, you know, there's other reasons why they could fail, but in my case, it'll be pretty obvious that gear is bad. It is something where they fail around 15 years. It makes me wonder why they just don't, well, we all know why they don't, why they just wouldn't put, you know, metal parts in there rather than these kind of plastic gears. Granted, you know, it lasted a long time, but they do wear out, and it is interesting to me that it would be a good idea, you know, every 10 years maybe we'll inspect it. But, you know, those kinds of things you don't really think about. And, you know, it's easy, again, it's easy enough to fix if it does fail. So, basically, long story short, that gear was completely gone. I went ahead and cross-referenced my old model number off the side of the garage door opener with the LiftMaster website and found a rebuild kit. Now, I didn't replace the worm gear because upon inspecting mine, it looked like it was in pretty good condition, but the grease was all gone. Basically, in a nutshell, all you really do is remove the case cover, right? 3 screws. The chain, of course, you got to take the chain off the sprocket, but once that's completely off, and keep in mind there's other guys who have done these videos and they'll basically take the whole garage door opener off the top of the ceiling and swing it down. I found another helpful video where you don't have to do that. So you can leave all that intact, you just have to get the tension off the chain, which I'm not going to explain how to do all that. There's great videos I will link to in the description where they walk you through the whole process. But basically, once that chain's off there, 3 screws from the underside, and you pull that gear assembly completely out. And when you order a new one, $14 for the whole rebuild kit on Amazon. If you just want to buy the gear, you can probably get it for about $8, but I went with the whole thing just to have the extra parts because I wasn't sure if I was going to replace the worm gear or not. Even comes with the grease. So, I mean, really, a couple seconds, got that thing popped in, screwed back together, greased it up, and we were good to go. Now, the only issue I did have with this is that because my garage door, prior to buying my house, somebody had backed into, the previous owner had backed into the door. So there's a very, very slight crease in the door, and it actually cracked one of the inside part of the frame, the structural frame of the door. So eventually I'll have to replace that. But you know, I've been in my home for, gosh, what's 18 years now. So the crack, although it doesn't really cause any real issues, again, it does need to be fixed. But in this case, probably because the garage door is getting a little bit difficult to pull up and down. You know, these garage door openers have a mechanism in there. I'm not exactly sure how it works, but it'll detect whether or not it hits a blockage and kind of stop the door, right? It's kind of a safety feature. Well, in my case, after I got all this buttoned up, I figured I might have to adjust the travel of the door a little bit, but once I got it on there, it just wouldn't bring the door back up. It would bring the door all the way back down, but when I hit the button and brought it back up, it would bring the door up just a little bit and stop. And what I had to do was just kind of assist it. Once I got that back up there, I adjusted the tension on the chain a little bit, loosened it up a teeny bit, and then the garage door would come down and then stop. So for whatever reason or other, the garage door opener kept thinking, I assume this is what it's thinking, right, that it's hitting something's in the way, there's an obstruction. So what I did is I actually messed around with a couple of my weights, and I hung a couple different weights from the door. Once I put a little bit of tension on it and kind of assisted it down, it didn't seem to have a problem closing. So I figured rather than attach a dumbbell or a weight to the inside of the door to give it that a little extra help, I went ahead and again, I mentioned the crack in the door because of that slight bow in the door. It's very slight. I think the door just kind of hangs up a little bit. Not 100% sure if that's even the issue, but what I found was it just needed a little extra weight to close the door. So what I ended up doing was adjusting the tension spring on the garage door to make the door appear a little heavier to the opener, so it doesn't assist the garage door as much. Once I did that, which took me a lot longer because you kind of got to be careful with it, and I'm not going to go into all that. I'll link whatever videos I think are pretty good in the description, so if you do have a similar issue, you can check this out. Here's the way I look at it, guys. Do you want to spend $250 on a new opener, or would you rather spend $14 and take that $250 and buy a new Invicta, right? And so that's the way my mind works. So I'd much rather do that. And so, but again, really easy. All it took is my time. 14 bucks to get the parts, and luckily, as far as adjusting the tension of the spring on the garage door, once I tweaked that a little bit, I was able to get the garage door to cycle perfectly over and over again, and we're good to go. Now, if you don't have the bars, what I recommend is if you do have this issue and you found this video because you have a problem with your garage door, when you do order the parts, go ahead and order. I will link a description to, I can't really link specifically to parts because I don't know what you guys have, but the universal part is the garage door spring tension rods. And what they are is they're just two rods, and what you do is you put that at the end of the spring stop, and it allows you to kind of compress the spring in a safe way. They're just metal rods. You may have sheet metal, or not sheet metal, but you may have metal stock laying around. I didn't, so I bought these years ago when I changed out the springs, and I'll always have them. So they came in handy if you do run into this issue where you are getting the garage door not actually cycling properly based on weight being a reason. For whatever reason, I think the idea with mine was because the old sprocket was so bad that now with the new sprocket, it was getting a really nice tight bite on those gears, and maybe now it was just misadjusted somehow. I'm not really 100% sure. All I know is by adjusting that tension a little bit, the garage door opener functions properly now. So I'll link to the bars, so you might as well get those if you have this issue, just to have in case you have to adjust the tension spring on the garage door. You'll have those, because without them you really can't do anything with that. So the only other tool you really need is just a wrench. So that's really about it. But I mean, it's great that YouTube has all these great videos out there. Again, I will link to those videos in the description, the ones that I used, and it always gives me a real sense of satisfaction knowing that I saved. I would say if you had to pay a guy to come in and replace that, you're probably looking at $500. I mean, most guys are charging $100 to $150 per hour, and honestly, I knew exactly what I was doing. But again, there was little issues of tweaking. Guys really know how to pad their labor, and I get it. Guys aren't going to come in and try to work as fast as possible to save you money. They're going to go at their pace, and whatever it costs, it costs. So something like that, I think easily $500–600 to have a guy come in and replace the garage door opener. Yeah. So anyway, and once you get it adjusted properly, you want to adjust the travel. And it's really simple. There are basically 2 screws on the side of most garage door openers, if not all of them. And that basically has a contact in there. And as it's hard to explain, but there's a gear that spins with the main gear, and it rides kind of like this screw. And once it travels, there's a contact on that. And once it travels to the open position and gets to the top, it hits another contact, which kills the circuit. And that's your maximum height, and of course, your maximum closure point. And the idea in that too is if you close your garage door, you want to have a little bit of tension on the door, smushing that seal down to make it weather tight, right? Now the door's weight itself will help to kind of push that down, but you don't want somebody to be able to grab it, kind of lift it, kind of shake it. You want a nice, clean, tight seal. So you'll basically play with that travel a little bit till you get it just right. You don't want the door come up too far off and flying off, flying off the track if that's even possible. But really straightforward, not rocket science. But I'm really glad I was able to find a couple great videos that gave me the confidence to fix it, and I saved myself some money. So that's about it, guys. No how-tos, no nothing. I did want to just put that out there. If you stumble upon this video, you will be able to find those other videos in the link. And those links in the description of this video, and maybe that's helpful to you. Again, I know it's not a how-to, it's not showing you all these different things, and I didn't want to do that because I don't really have the means to I don't have a GoPro to put on my head, and I don't want to edit a big long video when these other really helpful videos are already online, and it filmed really well. So no point in me doing it. I just wanted to put it out there because the keywords is what's important, and when you guys stumble upon this video based on those keywords, I'll be able to direct you to some more helpful information. So that's it, guys. Thanks for watching. Appreciate you taking the time to watch. If you like the content, subscribe. Although this isn't really amazing content, but it is informational, and hopefully it's helpful to some of you. Thanks for watching, guys. Have a good day. Bye-bye.